What would a collective grand healing look like? What would a grand care look like? What is possible right now? We Christians often create Jesus to be someone who almost like unconsciously wanted to bring about goodness and healing in the world. But I think there was a really human side to Jesus where that wasn't really Jesus' default response. I think Jesus had to learn how to be that. We see a glimpse of Jesus acknowledging that here in this text. When the leper comes to Jesus, he tells Jesus, "If you choose, you can make me clean." The person who was called the leper here in this story acknowledges that Jesus had a choice to make. Jesus can or Jesus cannot choose to make him well. And Jesus responds, "I do choose, be made clean." All of us, everyone here, like Jesus, we find ourselves in the midst of sickness. Political sickness, physical sickness, the sickness of corporate greed, the sickness of white supremacy, the sickness of queerphobia, xenophobia. When you go to a doctor and tell them your head hurts, you may find out that your headache is connected to another ailment, that one is connected to another one. And in that same way, all of these sicknesses are exposing the ways they're all interconnected, all symptomatic of each other, and shedding a light on what some of us have known all along, that each of these strands builds and strengthens the other like a web of death. But today, this web is brought to light and leads us to imagine what would a collective grand healing look like? What would a grand care look like? What is possible right now? Because if we can cure one type of sickness, then maybe we can just cure them all. After all, they're all a part of one another. Some of us are up against some really tough and scary challenges in the midst of the havoc the coronavirus is wreaking upon many of our lives and the lives of the people we're called to take care of. Some of the most low-paid workers in the country are making it possible for us to eat. The least we can do is return care for people whose jobs put them in the way of danger. At this time, it is both the doctor and the grocery store employee that make it possible for us to be well, both the bus driver and the child care center owner that make flourishing possible. The obstacle ahead is a difficult obstacle. Indeed, we will, and we have wondered if we can overcome this. We have wondered if the sickness in our midst is simply a part of the DNA of this country's body, leaving us hopeless and without a cure. But today I proclaim to you that the same Spirit of God that dwelled in Jesus to empower him to heal the sickness in the leper that came to him, to heal the sickness in the world around him, is the same Spirit of God that dwells in you and I. It is the same Spirit of God that dwelled in the prophet Elijah, the same spirit that dwelled in the prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the same Spirit that dwells in you, Obi and Javen, Corinne, Vivian, the same Spirit of God that dwells in all of us, leading us, empowering us. And it is the same Spirit that if we let it, will lead us to respond like Jesus did. The willingness to heal. Everyone, this country, the state of Minnesota, the earth itself is a leper reaching out to us, and they're wanting to know if someone cares. Can you hear the voices saying, "If you choose, you can make me clean"? What will you choose?